Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be addressing the, are we doing static or are we going with bags? Obviously my last car was bagged and I was static before. I've kind of done it all. But I want to give a huge shout out to the Mod Garage, Brian over there. He's amazing. You need parts, he's your guy. I've been with them for a very, very long time. I trust him. So question was, am I going static or am I going with bags? So we gonna really camber it or we not gonna camber it so much? So I'm gonna answer your question. We decided to go with airbags. And this time we are going with Airlift. On Bubbles, my STI, I ran YSR. And I had no issues with them at all. They were a great company, highly recommend them. But this build, you know, we're doing everything different with this, so I wanted to use a different company and check it out. I mean, I know Airlift is good. I've never personally ran them, so I have a lot of friends that have, but I'm curious to see the difference between Yellow Speed Racing and Airlift. I mean, that's the whole point of building a new build, right? Is to try out different parts. However, there are some parts that you know work well and you stick with. So, for instance, you know, you gotta have that camber, right? When you have bags, because I want to tuck. So I went with the WhiteLine lower control arms, and then we went with the Spec Performance lower or the rear toe arms. That way we don't have an issue and we can really camber this thing if we want to camber it out. My goal again is to try to really get this thing tucked with a really good fitment. Again, huge shout out to the Mod Garage, Brian over there. If you're looking for parts, hit him up. I'm going to put all the details down below in the little description section. Again, we are going with bags and we're going with Airlift, the whole 3-piece setup. So yeah, let's get going on this. So you guys know what to do. Hit that little, you know, like, share, subscribe button, and yeah, let's get to it and get these airbags on, because I'm excited. No more monster trucking. Alright, so I'm on the passenger side of the car, and in order to run the airlines inside the car, which I highly recommend, I would not recommend running your lines on the outside of the car, especially if you live in a colder climate like Washington or any of those other states, because, well, you run potential of your lines freezing and it's just a lot of problems. So I never run airlines. I've ran many airlines. I never do it on the outside of the car. I always run it up and through the fender and down in there, which that'll come later in the video. But for right now, we're going to get this little fender well cover off so that we can get access in there. And then, yeah, we're going to get going on taking this side apart. The driver's side's being taken apart now. So we're going to get a jump start on this and, yeah, start doing some lines while my special other half and my buddy Leon get working on the other things. Alright, so after getting the pop clips off, looking in here, because I run my lines on the inside, I realized that getting to the grommet that's back up in there, let's see if we can see it. Oh, yep, that grommet that's right there is where my airline needs to go through. So in order to get to that, because of the angle, I'm going to have to pull the entire side skirt off and the fender. So this should be fun. So, me being Riri, I just realized that in order to take the fenders off, you have to take the bumper off. This car is literally going to be down to its doors and quarter panel, and that's about it. So, yeah, I mean, I guess I get to know the car the better this way. For those of you who decide to do airbags on a BRZ, FRS, G86, I don't know how you do it, but this is super frustrating. With an STI, like the 3 out here, you don't have to pull fenders or bumpers or anything like that. It's super easy. However, with this, you literally have to pull off the entire front end of the car if you want to run your lines on the inside of the car, which, again, I highly recommend. So we're going to get back to putting this all together. Right, as I was saying before, it's easy just to poke it right through the grommet to run it in the inside. So as you can see here, I just poked it through the outside by the fender that was shown earlier. And so now we're just going to take the line. You pop all this fun stuff off and you can see where Subaru has run their own lines, and you just want to push that under there with that, and it sits nicely in there, and it all stays protected, and you don't have to worry about it. So yeah, that's how we run the front ones. All right, for this part, it can get a little tricky unless you want to take the whole rear quarter panel off. But what I've done, and I did with the other side, is I'm just taking this and I'm fishing it through underneath, and it will pop out right under here under the carpet, and then you can literally just reach your hand back here, grab the hose, and put it up underneath the seat, and you're good to go. And then it's in the trunk, kind of like how that one is. Super simple. Okay, so super simple. Like I said, I've already got my line. I have an extra hose just in case. So you literally just shove it under here, and there it is. It just pops out right underneath the seat. And you just pull on it, and then you've got your line for the fronts. The rear is going to be super easy as it's super short. You can already see one of the airlines on the passenger side that we've poked through one of the holes that was already in the car, which made it super simple. I know with the STI that wasn't the case. I actually had to drill a hole. So with the BRZ, you know, at least I don't know about the FRS or the GR86, but the BRZ has all these nifty little holes that are already here. So we pre-used a hole, and it's right there and works out great. So yeah, we're going to get back to running lines and getting the rest of this done. One thing I did forget to mention is we did have to widen this hole just a little bit to get it through, just because it was pretty tight. So, I mean, it will fit through that hole, but it doesn't leave a whole lot of room for air, and then you got more rubbing, and yeah, we don't want to leak in our airlines. That wouldn't be good. So I would recommend widening the hole. Gives you more room to work with, and don't have to worry about anything rubbing. As I'm working on the back, running the lines from the front, kind of got this mocked up in here how we're gonna have it. This is gonna come down a little bit and up and over, and there's a bracket under here that we're gonna attach it to. That way it stays away from the sway bar and there's no rubbing. In the meantime, while I'm working on the back, Leon over here is working on the front. One thing that you'll also want to do too, just so you don't, once you get all the lines in here, you don't get confused, just take some painter's tape and label which lines are what. Otherwise, you're going to be playing tic-tac-toe with your lines and figuring out which goes where. Not fun. You didn't have to stay out of the video. Everyone knows that you're helping. So Leon tightened down the driver's side rear, and he was like, here, I'm going to give you this and stay out of the camera, so it looks like you're actually doing some work. Just to be clear, I have been doing work. It's just more of taking apart the car and running the lines. And luckily, I have amazing friends who do the heavier, harder parts for me, which I totally appreciate. By the way, he really hates me right now and probably wants to beat me up for doing this because it's hot and sweaty, and well, airbags, they're not that difficult, but they're not fun either. Like doing coils, so much easier than airbags. There's way more that goes into it. The coils, you just take everything off. You put it back on. You don't got to run lines. You don't got to worry about running wiring to run the management and the compressor and your little controller. So if you've been debating on going airbags, depending on the difficulty, this video is going to show you that it is simple, but it's also difficult and way more time consuming than just putting some coils on. So right now I'm just labeling this one front right, because, you know, I don't want to get it mixed up with the other one and plug it into the wrong thing, and then, yeah, that wouldn't be good. So, we got both sides of the rear tightened down. We got both the front driver's side and the front passenger side lines ran. This side is nice and complete and tucked away, which I explained on the other side. You know, you just pop your little pieces off, pop this out, and the line just runs nicely underneath with the stock stuff where they run all their wires. So it's clean, it's hidden, you can't see it. It goes right through and show on this side since this side's done. All we did was I just poked a little hole in the grommet that it's already got all the wires going through, poked it through, running it up underneath. And then you've got the driver's side airbag that's already in. So this one, we're just gonna take the line, and you can see, oh, where'd it go? See my mark up here? We're gonna put a clamp here that'll hold the line, and then the other air hose will go through here and go right into this. So pretty simple for the most part, I guess you can say. So we're gonna go finish the passenger side because I still gotta get that all tucked back together. You can see, oh, camera. There we go. Did the same thing on this side. This one's also in, so this will be the same thing. We're gonna run another point up here and it'll get mounted and then come up behind the fender piece. And yeah, so now we're just going to reopen this door yet again. Ooh, the camera's not wanting to behave today. So as you can see, like I said, on the other side, you just pop this off and the line just sits right underneath. You can see it right here, just sits underneath with the stock wiring that's already there. You just put all this back together and yeah, it's good to go. All right, so we're getting back to assembling. Now that we've got all the struts, the bags in, we've got the end links now. It's nice and even. So we're gonna get these back on and get this all put back together. And then we can get our lines attached and get going on that. Yeah, after that, it's really just gonna be getting the rest of this buttoned up and the fenders back on, and then yeah, we'll be able to get the power going and fill up the tank and go from there. Okay, so we're at the point in the game where it is time to put these nifty little brackets over the hose, and we are going to mount it to the actual car so that there is no chance of it falling and getting caught on anything. So here we go with doing that. Alright guys, we're back to day 2 on the BRZ doing the bags. It got late last night. It was hot. I was tired. We were all tired. However, we do have everything set up. Obviously, this looks like a giant mess right now. Today we are going to be working on getting this all nicely mounted onto the actual trunk lid base thing, whatever you want to call it. But last night we wanted to make sure that everything was in correctly, that we were getting the proper power. Also that, you know, our power was going to an auxiliary, so it wasn't drawing constant power, so we had to go through the whole fuse thing. Also making sure that the notches that we did in the stock styrofoam was notched out properly to make room for all of the airlines on both sides, and then obviously that as well. So yeah, I think I have an idea of what I want to do with the mock-up. It's going to be pretty simple, nothing too crazy. However, the only downside to doing it this way is now I have to go back and I have to take all of this apart in order to get it nicely mounted in here and then get it back in the car. So we're going to rewire. We got to rewire this, and I think I'm going to hop over to the store and grab some male and female quick connects so that we don't have to worry about this again, because I realized now that I have to take this apart, I'm going to have to cut these and reconnect them, because it's, well, got to go through a hole down into the bottom where it's going to sit in this piece, where I've also notched these parts out for the lines to come through. Essentially, the lines will come up through this side and then come up through here, which will attach to the management that will sit on the mount. So it should be pretty clean when it's done. Not looking forward to doing this. Other than that, everything else is pretty buttoned up at this point. We've got all the bags in, the suspension in. We've got the new WhiteLine lower control arms, and then also the new spec performance toe arms in for the rear. All the lines are nicely tucked and secured, and you know there's still a little bit of room for movement just in case, but it's definitely away from the sway bar, so we don't got to worry about that. So that's the rear. And then we'll move over to the front. And again, you can see, like I talked about earlier, that we ran the line right through the grommet that's already provided. And then just drilled a nice little hole through the fender liner. And you can see that it just pops out right through here, through the hole. And it's nicely connected. We've got a connector here, so this is holding the line. This is sitting flush nicely against the body of the car. I did not mount this. I was thinking about it, but you know, I want a little bit of a room for movement just in case. We did get the tie rods in, and those are all set. Obviously, that'll get adjusted when the car goes in for alignment. The alignment's going to be horrible on this thing. It's going to be going every which direction, but thankfully, that's what alignments are for. So here's the front bags. There's obviously a little bit of a difference. These are quite a bit larger than the rear. The rears are more sleeves. However, everything is set up and ready to go. Everything's put back together. Lines are ran. I did check it last night for leaks. We did have a small leak in the passenger rear, coming from this point in the rear, which simple fix, got that done. So once we get the trunk done, we'll go ahead and get the fenders and the bumper and everything put back on. Same with the side skirts, and then get the wheels on this thing and, see if we have any other leaks under load, and yeah, and then we get back in and take the tires off, and then that's when we'll go through and we'll adjust the height and where we want to be on the front and rear. Kind of hard to do that without wheels, and right now we're not ready for that yet. So let's get started on the trunk. All right, let's go turn the power off, because yeah, we don't need anything going wrong here. All right, the power is off. And then, yeah, it's super simple. I usually, when I do this, I usually take a rag because there's condensation in there. But you just take this and you pull the pin, just pull it up. And as you can hear, it's letting out all of the air that is built up in the tank and in the lines. So now that I know that there's probably nothing left in there, it gets pretty cold. So it's got this nifty little ring right here. And again, you can use either end, but this way is much easier. So let's see if I can do it with one hand. This might be a little difficult. This just release the valve, lets all the air out. So you can see right here, there's nifty little holes. You pull the pin up and all the air comes out. Okay, need both hands. All right, it is officially empty. There is literally like nothing coming out of this. One thing I am going to remind everyone, if you end up in the same situation that I am, where you end up doing it this way, which I wouldn't recommend, this is kind of the pain a way of doing it. But when you remove these lines and you go to put them back in, you're going to want to take the little cutter that comes with your kit. So it's going to look something like this. It's a line cutter. You're going to want to recut these and just make sure they're straight, because once you do put them in and out a few times, it can cause a ridge, and that can also be causing some air leaks. So because these have been taken in and out a few times, that could have been where some of our leaking was coming from. Because I did check the other lines and there was no bubbling with the soapy water. So I'm assuming one of these is probably cut maybe a little jagged, and that might be where we're getting a little bit of leaking from. So yeah, just another reminder, use your cutter. Anytime you take these in and out, you're going to want to recut just a small piece of it off to make sure that it's a straight, nice, clean cut, and then put it back in and make sure it seals. Okay, here we go. So we've got the styrofoam pieces in here that need to be there, which obviously gives the bottom piece right here its stability. So we have notched all this out like I talked about before and showed earlier. Everything is where it needs to go. So yeah, so far so good. So now what we're going to do, since all this is pretty much where I want it, no, it's not the greatest setup, but you know what? No one's going to see under there anyway. Everything's secure. Nothing's getting pinched. Everything's labeled still. So now we're going to get going on, I've already kind of mocked up. You can see the tape of where the compressor is going to go. The tank's going to go behind that. And then the manifold, it's going to go about right in the middle. So we're going to get going on that. We've got it all drilled out. We've got, obviously you can see the 4 bolts that go with the tank. And then we're going to put the compressor here, and then the manifold will go here. This is going to end up being, where's the hole? Oh, here it is. Okay, so the manifold's going to sit here. And then this will be a nice little cutout, square cutout right here for all the wires to go through, and then all the air lines leading up to the manifold. So it should be pretty good after that. Getting there, getting somewhere, almost done. Okay, so here's kind of the general idea of what it's gonna look like. Had to cut a small hole in here so we could get the main wiring harness through here. I'm gonna clean this up a little bit. But we got all the lines. This is where, so the airlift, the management's gonna sit here like so. The compressor here, and then obviously the tank will sit right back here up against the seat. There's still plenty of room, as you can see, between the seat and where the tank's gonna sit, because you know, you just don't want it touching the back seat. But the tank's sitting there for now. I'm gonna get working on these bolts for the management airlift mount. And yeah, get this thing plugged back together. It has not been fun, I will tell you that. Taking apart all of this, whew. STIs, WRXs, definitely I would say easier than the BRZ. I don't know about the FRS or the GR86. I'm assuming they're probably pretty dang close. It really hasn't been that big of a deal, but it definitely is more work in some areas than the STI, which is what I'm used to. But so far, so good. So we're going to keep plugging away at this thing because, yeah, we got alignment scheduled for Saturday. It's got to get done. Obviously, this is going to change a little bit once we put the fenders back on, but we're just gonna push her all the way to nothing. All right, that's zeroed out. That is. I can still get my hand in here. All right, well, I mean, as we can see, I lower this down a little bit here. You can see that we are pretty much hitting. Take this off here. Yeah, and that's without the bumper. So I'm gonna officially say that this is the zeroed out mark for the front, which obviously the back is still up, so it's gonna change a little bit once I lower the back. But the back's still holding air. So far, I don't think we have any leaks. Now time to do the rear. Okay, now we're gonna do the rears. We're gonna start with this side. Oh, okay, I'm gonna go down this side. Even out a little bit. All right, well, our 27 on the driver and 40 on the passenger. Go down a little bit on that side. All right, let's go see what the other side looks like. And we still got about a finger width. We got about a finger width on each side, and we're sitting at 26 and 17. So we're just gonna push this, and we're gonna push this one, and that's all she wrote because she's sitting on the fender. Well, it's still tucking. Let's see. Let's take this off. All right, let's see. So yeah, definitely going to need camber. That is for sure. But that's completely aired out. It's not bad. Definitely need some camber though, because we want this to touch this. So probably going to add at least a -4 camber in the rear to get that to tuck. Oh, hey, there's still a control arm under there. Well, that's pretty low. As you guys can see, the exhaust is just about hitting the garage floor. And this side, we're sitting the same. So yeah, I don't really think there's much adjustments that probably need to be made as far as the coil part of it. This, as you can see, I can still get my hand in here, so it's not touching the top, which is good. We're not hitting any of the lines, which is good. We're not putting any pressure over here. So that's good. I like that. So I think we're okay. I think we just need to add some major camber into this thing and we'll be set. Okay, so the face matches what we got going on right here. I think this is safe, guys, don't you? I mean, that should work, right? Yeah, thumbs up.
It should.
We good? Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. No, really, I'm just kidding. I'm not leaving that like this. This is dangerous. I highly recommend no, don't do this. Okay, so we just got the shipment in for the new bag riders that are going on the BRZ, and I'm about to pull it out of the box. So we're gonna see what these look like. I'm hoping for a much slimmer bag. So far, I can already tell you that I like the fact that they send black braided lines versus the silver. So it's nice, more hidden, and they come with different size fittings, which is nice. They definitely come packaged well. I don't even know how I'm going to get through all this folder paper. Holy Jesus. Bag riders did not skimp on packaging, that's for sure. So when I bought these, I went with the super low extra camber on the top. So there is more camber adjustment than just your average top hat, which is really nice. I wanted to be able to add more camber at the top. Holy Jesus. Okay, so I can tell you right now, this is much smaller than the Airlift. And once the Airlift comes off the car, I'll do a comparison. But I can already tell you right now that this is way smaller. The bag, instead of it being a double bag, is a single bag. The width of the bag is definitely not as wide. You can tell there's still plenty of room on the collar to raise it up if need be. Obviously, they have it at the super low point where there's just a finger width of room. So that'll probably get adjusted depending on where I want it to sit. But so far, I'm happy with it. I think these are going to work really well in here and give me that fit that I'm looking for. So we're going to get them on.
No breath, no heartbeat, just static remains. Hollow reflections, ghosts in the code. So come burn down my escape. I wanna feel it, come drag me into the void. Let my circuits decay. I'm sorry, but it's too late. You never
All right, so we are halfway, well, almost done with the install on the new bag riders, super low with extra camber. Fronts are in, rear, this back driver rear's in, working on the passenger rear right now, but there's definitely a difference you can tell in size versus the bag riders versus the Airlift. So Airlift has got the two bags, bag riders has done one slimmer bag. So I'm really hoping this is gonna give me that clearance, the camber that I want. So far the install has been really easy on these. The only thing is end length, definitely you can see the difference in height. This obviously has to be adjusted quite a bit. This is also, I think, pretty much like max low. So you can see how much of the collar is still sticking out down here. So there's still quite a bit of adjustment that can be made. However, they pre-adjust these for super low already on the BRZ FRS GR86. So I'm gonna leave it as it is for now. And then we're gonna get the wheels and stuff on here and see what it looks like when it's on the ground. And then we'll adjust from there as needed. I definitely like the black lines. It's a lot more sleek. It doesn't stand out, which is great. So yeah, there's a few differences here and there about it, but so far I can completely get my hand back here, which with plenty of room, as you can see. We haven't adjusted any of the camber yet on the front one, so I'm curious to see how far we can push this. Again, like I said, I did go with the extra camber, and as you can see, there's definitely way more space with these to adjust. I think your typical ones only go to about 2.3, 2.4 negative camber, where this one, obviously, you can see there's quite a bit more movement available. So I'm curious to see what we're gonna get out of this. So stay tuned, because we're gonna get moving on getting the rest of this done and get it on the ground. Okay, so we currently have all the suspension on right now. We are letting the car run to fill the tank so that we can fill up the bags, get the wheels on, drop it down, see where the height is, see what adjustments we need to make sure there's no leaks anywhere, which I will show once we get this thing back up. Simple, easy for leaks. You just take some soap, water, mix in a spray bottle, spray it on there, and it'll bubble. Ooh, fan. Yeah, so we're gonna let the tank fill up, and then we're gonna get this on the ground and see what adjustments we need to make. So far, all the clearance is really good. I can get my hand back here in the rear. And then in the front, as you can see, I can completely get my hand all the way around this, so the clearance is really good. Trunk setup is not done yet, but again, as I showed prior in my Airlift video, you know, always label your things so you know until you're completely done. That way you know, when you're doing all this kind of stuff, not taking it in and out, then you know what you're doing. Obviously, this is a giant mess back here right now. It'll get fixed once we know there's no leaks. Yeah, so we get back to checking this and get the wheels on and go from there. All right, so we have the Bag Rider's super low kit on the car. Everything is buttoned up. We have it set to where I think it's gonna work, but we're about to see. Everything's buttoned up, tightened up. We're about to fill the tank and get this thing on the ground and see if it actually is gonna sit right, or if we're gonna have to make some more adjustments. All right, so we're back at it. We are filling up the tank currently back there so that we can get the bags aired all the way up for the front. The rears, everything held air last night, so I was really happy about that. There is one small leak, I think, on the passenger rear, which I'm not too concerned about. It was like 2 PSI overnight, which is no big deal at all. So as you can hear, the compressor just turned off, which means the tank is full. So we can go ahead and get this thing off the jack stands and get it down on the ground so that we can really get the fitment dialed in. I think we've got it where we want it. There might be some little adjustments that still need to be made, but for the most part, I mean, I think this is going to work. I think this is going to give me that fitment that I'm really looking for. So see what happens. Okay, so the tank is full. We're going to go ahead and air up the front bags to 50. That's what Bag Rider says, is to do it at 50 and then lower it down. So you can see we're at 50 here, 47 here, and this is the front bags. We're currently sitting at 0. So we're going to get this thing aired up to 50 PSI, and then we're going to get it on the ground and see where we're sitting. Okay, so we've got the bags up to 50 all the way around, all 4 corners. So we're going to go ahead and drop this thing down. And yeah, I guess we're gonna see where this thing sits. Right now, I'm okay with that as far as ride height goes. So I'm really curious to see what it's gonna look like when this is kind of zeroed out with weight on it. But yeah, let's find out what happens. And it doesn't look like we have any leaks because we're staying at 50, so that's good. I'm happy with that. Usually, if you guys don't know, if you guys this first time doing airbags, usually within a few seconds, if you've got a leak, the pressure on the PSI will change depending on where the leak is at. However, after a few minutes, if nothing changes, then obviously you wouldn't have any leaks. I would say everything was good. It is normal to lose a little bit of pressure when you put it down. So just because there's no weight on it, obviously right now. And then really once it's down on the ground, if this does start to drop, you know, number by number consistently, then obviously, you know, under a load, there is a leak somewhere, and that's, you know, you'll be able to tell which one. Anyway, let's get this thing on the ground and see what happens. Okay, so it's on the ground, and you can see the PSI went up, which is a good thing. We haven't had no movement, so it's not leaking. So we're going to go ahead and lower the front and see what happens. But we're going to do it one side at a time. So we're going to start with the driver's side. Oh, that's going up. Okay, so we're down to 23, 22. And we are zeroed out on that side. Oh, going up, wrong direction. Alright, we're going down the other side, which should bring this side down.
That's like perfect.
Yeah, that's
We are zeroed out. Well,
even.
we are zeroed out.
I don't think they're even.
And we
Oh, no,
are
they are.
almost fender to wheel, which is just perfect. So now
If we would've went a
the
quarter,
test
it would've been-
is to see what the back does, because once you lower the back down, it is going to raise the front back up. So let's see what happens with the rear. Okay, so as you guys can see, the fronts are completely aired out, and the car is well, there's no bumper.
Any of these on mine.
So I'm not going to be able to air all the way out once the bumper's on, I have a feeling. But, you know, hey, we're just going to go with it for now. So let's get back to the rear. All right, it is time to air out the rear and see what happens. Someone want to go check out the other side? And we are losing PSI on that passenger side still.
The passenger front,
Rear.
passenger rear.
Yeah. We're going with this side first. Okay. Oh, that's almost zeroed out. Whoa!
Whoa. Yeah, you gotta adjust the backs.
Hello.
Don't go anymore. Stop.
What happened?
Yeah. I don't want to fucking press the back thing right here.
You go slowly.
Once I feel this, I don't want it to go all the way automatically.
Yeah, go slow.
Well, I'm currently sitting at 32 and 29. How's the bag? The bag looks fine. Okay, so we're currently sitting at 29 and 32.
Keep going. Oh, it's perfect. It's perfect.
Okay, 22 or 27. Woo, we talking.
Slowly,
Yeah.
slowly.
It's this part right here. You got enough for that part.
Might have to trim this right
Woo, okay, fenders are popping.
Yeah, we might have
Yeah.
to. We'll have to trim it a little bit.
And the inside. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'll show you where we're hitting over here.
Okay, so
Get on this side.
on this, as we aired it out, I noticed that obviously, you know, camera can only go so much. This, when it's airing out, is popping this little plastic piece off, so it's flexing. So, if I really want to tuck this, we're going to have to roll these, I have a feeling. But I don't think I'm going to do that, so we're just going to play around with figure out what is the right setting, and that's about where it's gonna go. But Bag Rider Super Low, they live up to their name. Yeah, if this, well, I guess if I had a thinner wheel, or I rolled the quarter panel, the back fender, I would be able to completely tuck this thing. So I'm definitely going to give it a 2 thumbs up to Bag Rider Super Low because, well, they live up to their name.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah. All right, right now we have got the car dialed in and we are doing the calibration on the management system. So you go through all these nifty little fun checks. It has you set your presets, like your max, air, all that kind of stuff. So we're just going to sit here and let it do its thing, and then we'll get it out and do some video of what it looks like. Guys, I'm pooped. This car has kicked my butt. Anyway, okay, so as you saw, the fitment's not quite all the way dialed in yet. When we originally did the camber and the toe and everything on this thing, when we installed the Bag Riders versus the Airlift, it was based off of the previous tire I was running. So I'm running an 18x9 half plus 30 or plus 40 wheel, and I was running a 245/35? Yeah, 245/35 tire, and what was happening is the tire was hitting the bag because it was too wide. So I went with quite a bit of stretch. I think I got about an inch of stretch on my new tires. So I did go with the Nittos, and they are a 215/35. So there is quite a bit of stretch, as you saw. But I really, really like it. And, you know, I'm still getting this fitment dialed in, so that's what I'm going to be working on the next few days. But I mean, if you guys had any questions whether to run Airlift or Bag Riders, now you kind of know. Airlift, depending on your setup, you know, are you wanting to look more track-like but still have that availability to go up and down, you know, or do you want to go with the Super Low from Bag Riders and really just have that real stance look? I'm kind of, I guess with this car, I'm kind of doing both. I'm doing, it kind of looks track and it kind of looks like a stancy car. So it's a little bit of both. I think we got a perfect mix going on. And again, like I said, you know, I hope this video, if you guys had any questions about Airlift or Bag Riders, you kind of have an idea. And I mean, there was a lot of trial and error with this car and everything that's gone on with it, and getting the fitment just right. But I can tell you right now that as it sits, even though we're not quite dialed all the way in yet, I am completely happy with Bag Riders. I would highly recommend them. Airlift is great too. It just didn't work for what I wanted to do with my size wheels. I highly recommend if you do want to run Airlift, I would definitely go with a 30 plus 35 offset or lower. Otherwise, you are going to end up hitting those bags. Unless you're not really looking for that stancy look, then you should be fine. However, on the other hand, I would go with Bag Riders because, well, you can see here, you saw, it gets low. So that's it for this one. Yeah, stay tuned for some more. We're going to be doing some other little fun things here and there. But for right now, that's kind of a wrap. I'm pretty pooped. I'm ready to just enjoy some shows and get this thing out and let everybody see it. And yeah, so I'll see you on the next one.